The story goes that a northern lieutenant was on a train with a private, and as they rode by the prison where Morgan was supposed to be interred, the lieutenant said, "I hear they have Morgan in there." The private said, "Yes, he'll never get out." What that private didn't know was that he was actually speaking to Morgan, who had snuck out, got a Union uniform, and rode the train back south. He was a character. Unfortunately, John didn't make it to the end of the war. He died the year right before the war ended. I don't know if you've ever been downtown in Lexington and gone by the fellow who's riding a horse out in front of the old courthouse, but that's John Hunt Morgan. When you go by, tip your hat. Say hello to him for us. You know, not only did we have some characters that were pretty flamboyant and pretty influential in the South, we have probably one of the best known, most famous Americans who was born right here in our state, Abraham Lincoln. But not only was Abraham born here, but his wife, Mary Todd, was a Lexingtonian. And so there are so many roots from the Civil War that go right back to our wonderful state. I think maybe both of the Lincolns are here today.
Oh, Mr. Lincoln, we must do something about those Southern sympathizers. They are disrupting everything.
What do you suggest we do, Ms. Lincoln, or should I say Mrs. President?
Please don't be silly. These are important matters I'm talking about.
Well, let's go sit down for some tea. Oh, look at the time. I'm late for the signing of that new bill.
Oh, goodness. Always during tea time. Always during tea time. Well, I suppose I should tell you good people a little bit about myself. I was born to my parents, Robert and Eliza Todd, on December 13, 1818. We were one of the most prominent families in Kentucky. Unfortunately, my mother died when I was only 6 years old, giving birth to my younger brother, George. My father needed help caring for me and my 4 other siblings, so only 6 months after my mother's death, he married Elizabeth Humphreys. Oh, that woman. We did not get along one bit. I recall one time slipping a lump of salt into her coffee and revenge for her not letting me wear her skirt. Well, I was ready to get out of the house full of my many other siblings, so my father enrolled me into 10 years of schooling, first at Shelby Female Academy, and later at Repulse for Young Ladies. I suppose it was there where I found my love of politics. When I finished up in Mentel's, I moved to Springfield with my older sister, Elizabeth. Oh, I flourished in Springfield, especially at the many parties that my sister held. Many people said I was the life of the party, my quick wit and knowledge of politics. It was at one of those parties where I met Abraham. We were drawn together despite our many differences. He was tall, I was short. He was 33 years old, and I was only 24. He was quite shy at parties, but I was known as the life of the party. But we both shared the same love for politics. On November 4th, 1842, we were married, and soon I became pregnant with Robert. A few years later, he was elected to the United States Congress. I was thrilled about that, but I was not so thrilled about Washington, D.C., because of how lonely it was. So I moved back to Springfield with Robert and my newly born son, Edward. Oh, I missed Abraham something terrible. And soon, Edward became ill and died. But our grief was overcome by joy when my dear son Willie was born, and 3 years later, when we were blessed with our 4th son, Tad. 7 years after the birth of Tad, my dear Abraham was elected President of the United States of America. But only within a month of his election, we received many death threats from non-Southern sympathizers. When we moved into the White House, I was horrified by the shape it was in. Curtains were torn, furniture was broken, and the bottom level was even open to the public. Well, I spent $20,000 on repairs the White House my first year there. People said that I lavishly overspent my budget on justice and other things. But what an absurd thought. Well, I do admit I overspent my budget a little bit. But many people have said that I was the best hostess that one could have at a party. That is what I became known for, my parties. Unfortunately, my years at the White House were not all fun and parties. Only dear son Billy, only 11 years old, died in the White House. And with the Civil War going on, rumors spread that the Southerners were planning an attack on the White House. Abraham's advisors pleaded with me to leave, but I refused. I'm not going anywhere without my husband, I told those advisors. Well, finally, on April 9th, 1865, the war ended. We had won. Just 5 days later, Abraham and I traveled to Ford's Theater together. It was an adorable play until a shot rang out in our balcony. I looked over quickly, only to see Abraham slumped over in his chair. He was shot in the head by the wretched John Wilkes Booth. I was too devastated to attend his funeral. I just lay in my bed trying to comprehend what had happened. I only wore black for the rest of my life. And it seemed my life was followed by only more tragedies. My third son Tad died, and my last son Robert declared me insane. But I assure you, I am not insane. I am not insane.
Calm down, Mary. We know, we know.
Well, I suppose I've been blabbering on long enough. How will you tell them about your life?
I surely don't have time to share my whole story, but most important to you folks is that I was born in Hodgensville, Kentucky, and as everyone knows, I died of an assassin's bullet in Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. Of course, as everyone knows, I was the 16th President of the United States and governed during the Civil War. I bet most of you know a bit of my speech I gave that day in Gettysburg. I began 7 years ago. Our forefathers brought forth to this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Well, here you are today, gathered more than 10 score years after the founding of this great nation. Believe me or not, you are engaged in a different kind of war today, a war between those who hold the values that have kept this nation free and those who would repress your right to honor and follow God as you see fit. I have been there, mark my words, you are in battle.
Well, there's the story. We are in a battle. And just like Abe said, it's a different kind of battle. It's a battle of values. And hopefully your students have been prepared this year to enter into that battle, well-armed, well-trained, to fight this battle that we're in. I'm very sorry that Mrs. Kincaid couldn't be here. Well, like I said, their class is taught out of a book that's written by Miss Kincaid. And Elizabeth, you made it! I didn't know that you were going to come and visit. This is Elizabeth Kincaid. She was a school teacher back in the late 1800s, and she wrote this book. How you doing, Elizabeth?
Good, thank you, Colonel Henderson.
Hey, you know, the play's already over, so we don't have much time for you to tell us anything about history, but you know, I heard that you could sing. Would you mind leading us in my old Kentucky home?
I love singing, and I love Kentucky. And around 1850, Stephen Foster wrote a beautiful song about Kentucky. And in 1929, it was adopted as the state song. And it's a song that's very near and dear to my heart. So please help me sing to my old Kentucky home.
Let's sing it.
Shines bright on my old Kentucky home. This song